I've started making this video multiple times, every time with different lenses. First version it was the 16mm f2.8 WR and the 35 f2 WR, but the 35 disappointed me on one of my trips and I kinda changed my mind about it. Next I thought the Viltrox 13mm f1.4 and the 33mm LMWR f1.4, and that would be a great professional travel combo, but not very fun because of size. And then I realized after reviewing and using so many lenses that this video should be about the lenses I would grab for my personal use when I travel and not use professionally. The ones that inspire me to take better photos and are easy to carry. The ones that have character because sharpness doesn't make a photo great. And the lenses that first came to mind were the 35mm f1.4 and the 16mm f2.8 WR. The XF35mm f1.4 is one of my favorite lenses of all time because of its micro contrast, character, lens hood and size. I think this was an instant classic from the moment it left the factory. When I think about roaming the streets of an old city without the pressure of work, just getting lost on the narrow streets, looking for shadows and interesting people, I think that the 35mm f1.4 gives me the results I want from those places and people without thinking about my setup, making photography easy and fun. I think the 35mm f1.4 has the perfect balance between character and good image quality. I think this lens was never meant to be perfect. I think Fujifilm made it this way to grab the viewer's attention and focus it towards the center of the frame. I think this is one of the important characteristics of this lens. Why it does that? It suffers from field curvature, it has some vignetting and the bokeh near the edges of the frame and in the corners looks a bit different than the rest. Well, because of that field curvature. All these imperfections create the so-called character of the lens that pulls the viewer in like a magic 3D effect. A thing I always forget to talk about when I talk about the 35mm f1.4, and that is flare. This lens has some really nice flare. The Fujifilm 35mm f1.4 has the perfect mix of imperfections that make it magic. Regarding build quality, I love it with all its quirks. It is built like a tank, and I think some recently released lenses will cease to work before this one does. Autofocus is great for photography, it has some problems, but it is still very good. Low light is not its strongest point, but it works. Video, you can get some beautiful footage with this lens if you don't rely on autofocus. That character is also great for video. You don't need to buy a vintage lens to dirty your footage if you already have this. Here is the footage I shot with this lens for an older project using AFC. To sum it up with the 35mm, it is a magic, beautiful looking compact lens, the perfect companion for storytellers and travelers. Now let's jump to the second lens, and that is the lens that surprised me the most when it comes to small wide-angle lenses, and that is the 16mm f2.8 WR. I just love the build quality of this lens. It has the best balanced aperture ring on any Fujifilm lens. It is weather sealed, it has amazing autofocus in photo and video, micro contrast and a bit of character. I chose this one because of the previously said, but also because 16mm 24mm on full frame is my favorite focal for architecture and cityscapes. 18mm is nice, but you sometimes can't take the extra step back, and I usually end up cropping these photos to correct them, or who knows why. So yeah, in my opinion, 16mm is a better focal than 18, but that is just me. Fujifilm should make a Mark II version of this lens, but f2 and with the body of the 18mm f2, that would be a really sexy lens. Is the image quality of this lens perfect from corner to corner? No, and this is not that kind of video. For me, it's great. The image quality I get with this lens is just what I need. I was stunned that a lens so compact and so lightweight, 155 grams, can produce results like this. Yes, this lens has a bit of distortion, but distortion in some cases can be a benefit by making the photo more interesting. It's hard to explain the magic of this little lens, but it sure has it. I enjoyed using it so much. Again, not thinking about the specs and other things like that, I just loved going out and using this lens. While I used it, I also had the 13mm from Viltrox, and that is a great lens, but I ended up using this one more. I always tended to grab the 16mm f2.8 when I went out, and this is why I chose to talk about these lenses in this video. They are the lenses I wanted to use most of the time. They are fun, have a bit of magic, they are so easy to carry, making my travel experience better. And the better I feel when I go out to take photos, the better my results are. What is your favorite fun Fujifilm combo? Tell me in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, ring the bell, and I promise I will make more videos like this. See you next time.